Welcome back to another episode of Unfiltered Romance Nights. We are your hosts, Colleen.
And I'm Marjorie. Tonight's episode, we have debut author Stephanie Napolitano. Stephanie is a storyteller blessed with an overactive imagination. She loves creating flawed characters, navigating flawed worlds, crafting stories that make people feel. Welcome to the Unfiltered Romance Nights podcast, and we are extremely excited to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be on.
So, before we chat about your books, we have a few questions about you as an author.
Of course.
Now, is being an author your full-time job, or do you have another career?
Right now, it's my full-time job. I'm a stay-at-home mom first and foremost.
Nice.
And during my postpartum experience, I had trials and tribulations with my marriage, and I had an idea for a book, and I just knew that I was meant for I wanted to do something for me that I can do could do for myself. And so this idea for a book kept circling in my head during my son's nap time, and I was writing it down feverishly. I'm like, oh my God, I need to get it down before I forget it. And I'm like, you know what? I think I'm just going to try my hand at this. And this is what I've been doing. I'm so excited to keep writing.
Yeah, when did this kind of started, got you into writing kind of thing, with your ideas and stuff like that?
I've always had ideas for a book. I just never had the confidence to start writing. I would listen to a song as far back as 12 or 13 years old. I remember certain I can visualize certain songs would give me a scene and what I thought would be a great movie, or even screenwriting. I was tossing back and forth when I was choosing a major for college. And I always had that overactive imagination, and people have told me I'm a good storyteller, and sometimes it's used in a negative connotation as well. But I believe in weaponizing your strengths. And so I during January of 2022 is when I first got the idea for Pretend for Me. The opening scene came to me during my son's nap time. It was so vivid. Their fight, if you've read the book, their fight between one another, it was so clear to me. And I'm like, okay, well, they have to be younger because of the way they're speaking. And so I kind of just backtracked. I'm like, okay, so they've known each other their whole lives. And I'm like, well, there's definitely an emotional element to it. What about foster kids? I've always been interested in adoption. And I think that it might have been an interesting, not trope, but I guess trope. And so I was tossing that around, and I kind of just pieced it together, and I started just writing, and chapter by chapter. And my editor, who's my friend, I would send her each chapter and she'd read it and encourage me. And yeah, here we are.
I just want to say first and foremost that it is amazing that you took the time for yourself to do that. As a new parent, that is such a struggle. It's like your life it's like everyone feels your life is over and everything is for this kid. We've got to keep this kid moving and alive, and your needs are second. So I think it's amazing that you found that, I don't want to say outlet, but because it's more than that, but you found that way to keep your sense of self.
Yes. Thank you so much. And that means so much to me. And I really appreciate that, because that's exactly what I was trying to do. My son wasn't a very good sleeper, and I was kind of losing my mind a little bit. And I think the way I wrote Pretend for Me, I was writing so feverishly. And I say it was literally a fever dream. I was writing it half the time in the middle of the night, when he would wake up, because I was breastfeeding, and I would be writing on my phone in one hand because I have an idea for a scene of breastfeeding and holding him with the other. And that just to give you some context of literally what was going on.
Yeah.
And that was and so it really, and I believe in alchemizing our pain, right? And so I was going through this very tumultuous time in my marriage. It was, we are navigating, not being together. And it was hard, especially early postpartum. Tensions are high. We had a lot of other, trials and tribulations attached to it as well. And, we were moving, and there was just so many elements there. And I, just took this one thing. I never really do anything for myself. And so I took this and as that one thing that I did for myself. And it's something I've always wanted to do. And there was never a time where I questioned, what am I doing? I was like, no, I just have to keep going. And there is going to be some kind of light at the end of the tunnel. I don't know why and I doubt everything. And it's so funny. I never doubted this.
Now, did you do it with the expectation of, okay, I'm writing a book and I'm putting it out? Or was it just, I'm going to
No.
write this and whatever happens, happens?
Yeah, no, I just wrote it. I wrote it for myself. I was like, this is, nice. It would be nice to have like that I did something for me. And then I read it, and my editor was so supportive, and so who's my friend? She was amazing. I got some other feedback from multiple people, and I'm like, okay, I think this could be something. Like, and I was like, even if like I don't do anything with it, I want it to be like bound and like just in my hands and tangible. I printed it out like on my poor printer, like 100, like 300 pages later. And I'm like, I just wanted to, like find it and like have it for myself. And so it started out like small like that. And then I, like the business side of me, I'm like, okay, I have to like come up with a marketing plan. I have to have like, I had channels and I'm like, okay, I want to do like a checklist. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And I have so many more ideas for different books. And I started writing my second book, which is coming out in May on my birthday. May 7th.
Yes.
And then I'm like have ideas for a third book that came out of nowhere and a fourth book. And so it's taken on a life of its own.
Yeah, I love that. That's great.
Thank you.
As well as kind of like being an author, you're also an avid reader, I'm guessing.
Yes. Yeah. During postpartum, and even before that, I would, and because I had so much more time, I would read a book a day, like literally a book a day. I'm a very fast reader.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I love to read. I did like, especially if I'm into the book, I devour it so quickly.
Yeah. You could probably pick up a series. Like I could give you a book rec for like a series of 5 books and you're done in a week.
Done. I discovered Melanie Harlow recently. And I'm like almost done with all of her books.
I was like, I've read 3. One of hers.
I think I have like 3 left, and she has so much, like so many of the backlog, which I love. When I discover an author, I just finished all of Anne Malcolm's backlog. Like I finished all of hers, and so then I found Melanie Harlow, and I just can't wait to what I find next.
Yeah, I think I read 3 of Melanie Harlow. The one in Paris, Mia.
Yes.
One of the FMCs was Mia. And I'm pretty sure they're kind of there was like second generation for them and all.
Yes, it was second generation, the Cloverleaf generation, second generation. Did you read Franny and Mac?
No.
Their story, I forgot what it's called.
No, I think I only did the 3 friends. The Mia, what was it like one of the, I forgot the titles, but yeah, it was just the 3 of them, and I said like, oh, I'll get back into it. I said I'll get back into it, and then now it's kind of like there's so many of them. I was like, no, it's just a lot.
I'm not good with names. Like Marjorie can remember, oh yeah, so and so from book 3 of blah blah blah. I'm like, who?
I was like,
I'm the worst.
Well, it's kind of bad, like when we're like having to.
I'm not good with names either, especially titles. Titles, I'm horrible with. I'm like, oh, that book, like with the cover. I can remember the cover. I look at like the covers, and I'm like, oh, it looks like it has swirls on it, and the guy's like, and then but it's like so hard to describe it because the guy's naked on like all of them. It's like he's half naked. It's like his blue eyes, and it's like you're not looking at his eyes. So like, why are we even like using? I'm not even using that as a descriptor at this point.
Right. Yeah. I think it's because we read too many books. Like when I was reading like one a week-ish, then I could tell you front to back that book. Now, because I'm like, okay, that one's done. What's next? It's like they're all one book.
Right.
It's like overindulgent. We're like, it's too many.
We have the Kindle Unlimited. And you have like that subscription. It's like, oh, as soon as you get one, you can return it and then get a new one. It's just like one after the other. And like, before Kindle Unlimited subscription, you have to buy them. And they weren't cheap. The ebooks weren't cheap either.
No.
Before. So you're just like, okay, now I have to wait. Or, before the ebooks, it was paperback. So you're like, okay, I have to wait until it comes out. So it wasn't like you're reading one book a day or 2.
Literally. I got into Penelope Douglas's books over the summer. and a lot of their stuff is not on Kindle Unlimited. So I totally can relate to what you're saying, because I was like,
Right.
but I was hooked, and it wasn't on Kindle Unlimited, and I think one was. And then I was like, oh my God, the rest isn't. So then I went out to Target and I was like, I bought all of their books, all of their backlog. And I was like, I need to read this.
I didn't realize she removed them on Kindle Unlimited because
I only think one or two are on there.
was it The Devil's Nights?
Yeah, I think one of the Devil's Night. Maybe she changed. Maybe they changed it, but I'm not sure.
Girl, she probably has the first one on there, and then you're hooked, and then it's like, oh, you're gonna have to
Then you
buy
have to buy
it.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Authors got to make money. That's what it is.
Absolutely. And they are so talented, incredible.
I love the Devil's Night series, but I finally finished it last year. It took me a while to.
Did you read Birthday Girl?
I haven't yet. I do have the book.
Oh,
you need
I've
to read
only
Birthday
read
Girl.
the Devil's Night series from her. That's the only one that I've read, but it took me a while because the last one was like that's the thick book, so I ended up listening to it on audio, and that took me a while too. But that's just because I didn't like the female main character. But that's besides the point. It took me a while to read it.
Not to go off on a tangent, but did you read Five Brothers?
Yes.
Loved it.
Loved.
I loved it. That's like my favorite book of 2024.
I was just about to say mine as well. I think they did a fabulous job. Fabulous job.
Now,
that's a commitment.
It's been sitting here.
It's a commitment. I would tell you that it's a commitment.
I was just about to say, I think I see it in the background.
Yeah, it's all here. Oh gosh. Out of all, who's your go-to author then? If you have to, you could pick two, all right? But I usually ask one.
My go-to. I'm going to say Melanie Harlow. I'm obsessed. I love her writing style. And then I do love Penelope Douglas. Who else would I choose? Oh, Melanie Moreland. Her stuff is fantastic. If you want sweet, so sweet and wholesome. A palette, it's such a great palette cleanser. If I read something dark and heavy and angsty, I go right to her and I feel so refreshed. And it's there's all of her MMCs, they're swoon worthy, and it's just, what you're going to get. And I love it. And Zoe's very consistent. She came out with My Favorite Kidnapper. I think that was one of her most recent books. And it was fantastic. It's so funny and cheeky, and there's a little bit of small angst. It's very easily digestible, and if you just want a quick read, it's so good.
Is she the one that wrote The Contract?
Yes.
All right, I have that book.
Yes, that's so good too. That's so good as well.
But I think I'm gonna listen to it on audio.
Yeah, no, that's so good.
I'm kind of trying to get into audio because the ones that I've been wanting to read, but I'm too lazy to kind of read them on ebook. I'm just gonna listen to them because we'll be traveling a lot next month and stuff. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna put them on.
I know. I'm trying to do that with Elsie Silver's books because I feel like I haven't read them all, and they're so popular. And I think I only read one or two, and I really want to get into it, but I feel like I'm so behind on it. And I'm by the time she releases another one, I want to be up to date. And so I think that's where audio comes in. And I've never been an audio reader, and I've really wanted to get into that. And I think that her stuff's a really good gateway into that, because it's again that small town. It's an easy, nice read. A good, a consistent, what you're gonna get. It's not too angsty for an audiobook.
Yeah.
I don't want to be sobbing while I'm listening to an audiobook.
Yeah. I usually do it when I'm having a hard time to concentrate.
Yeah.
I'll put my headphones in and then I'll be listening to audiobooks. Thankfully I work from home. So even when I'm laughing out loud, it's okay, nobody's going to judge me because I'm by myself.
Right.
I would say though, don't listen to audiobooks at the gym, because when I was working out, I was listening to the audiobook because I was well, it's the only time that I'll have my headphones. And it always the whole hour, it's always the spicy scenes. And I'm what is going on? I can't. Like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to like have a poker face while I'm working out, but no, I'm like, I can feel my face heating up just because they are so spicy. I was like,
Yeah, I just about to say you're blushing. That's like a scene out of
Yeah.
like a romance novel. That's like a scene out of a romance. Like someone should write that.
Put it in your book. Put it in your book.
put in your book, right?
What if the earpods connection goes out though, and then like that's always my
Yes.
my
Yeah.
fear.
I love
like, what
it.
if it disconnects
And then everybody's just gonna hear what you're listening.
and it starts playing out loud and everybody for
Oh my
everyone to
God.
hear?
God. And everyone will think you're watching porn.
Yes,
Exactly. Well, and usually I like, because there's always like the duet narration or the duel, and I like the duet, so it's always back and forth. When it's like the spicy scene, it's both of them back and forth, and I'll be like, okay, yeah,
Mhm.
this is gonna be like, it will sound like a porn instead of just the
Definitely.
audiobook.
If a scene like that makes it into my next book, I'll definitely give you credit.
I made it on a book in a book. I made it.
Oh,
Well,
gosh.
we went on a tangent.
Well, this is what we do.
Do you have like a favorite TV show? Like if you ever, get a chance to watch.
I love Big Little Lies. That's like such a good show. Like I can watch that like over and over again. I love that like almost Gone Girl kind of like that like high society, like that picture like intro into high society and like looking like on the other side of things. Like I just love that like rich mom kind of like aesthetic.
Is that the one that Alexander Skarsgård was in?
Yes.
It was Nicole Kidman's husband.
And Reese
Is
Witherspoon.
that one?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I love that kind of stuff. I love Gone Girl. Like anything in that kind of vein is something like I would watch. But I love like Gossip Girl and oh my God, this is a really good show for anybody who needs like a good show to binge. Like it's a spy show and I never hear anybody talk about it, but it was so good. Nikita with Maggie Q and Shane West from A Walk to Remember is in there. And it's such a good
Yes.
show. It's such a good show and nobody talks about it. And it's like so old, but it's so good. It's like a spy show, espionage, and there's romance. It's so good. And it's fast paced. Like I need something like fast paced that's going to hold my attention.
It's like the enemies to lovers in them too, right?
Oh my God. It's
well,
so
they
enemies
actually
to
was like
lovers.
lovers, enemies, lovers.
Yes, friends to enemies to lovers. That's them. And like it's so good, and it's so like the script is so you wouldn't think it was a CW show, and then like it's so like well written. Like whoever the writers were very talented.
I remember watching it diligently, and then once we kind of like trying to figure out, like, oh, do we want just streaming or also cable? And then we removed cable, and I was like, well, now I'm having to look for it. I can't find. I think it's on Amazon Prime.
I think, yeah, it might be. It was on like one of those like ones you don't even think about, like Tubi or something like that, like a while back. Like one of those like it was on one of those. If I searched it in my Fire Stick because I wanted to rewatch it, and like it came up, but it wasn't like a normal like one of the popular streaming networks. It was like something like that I wouldn't have thought of, like Roku, something like that.
I need to find it again because I love Shane West.
Me too.
Fell in love with him in like A Walk to Remember. A Walk to Remember.
Gosh. Steph's Kiss.
I hope they don't remake it.
They are. Did you hear about that?
I did, and I hope that they get like so much backlash about like because everybody's like, don't remake it, that they would just like not do it. So I was like,
yeah, but I hope that Shane has if they do, I hope Shane has a cameo. He should have like a cameo as their dad.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Like as the dad, as the guy's dad.
Oh yeah, like the dad of
Jenny. He should do that.
I think we just aged all ourselves with like
I know
having to like be the dad. Yeah, I was just like, oh right.
That's so
But yeah, it was when they said it, I was like, it hasn't been that long. I mean, it's been that long, but I don't think it's like it wasn't even like a bad movie either. Anyway, to like for people to remake it, Yeah,
I feel like there's exactly. It's such a great movie. Like. It's such a great movie.
Other than reading and writing and TV, are there any other hobbies or anything that you do to unwind?
Yeah, you know what? I love, like, I used to do fashion when I was in high school. And so I've gotten back into sewing. It's like very therapeutic to me. I used to be not so great at it. I'd say in high school, I didn't apply myself as much as like I should have. But I was accepted into like the big colleges like LIM and FIT. And I really had like I've always been interested in fashion and I wanted to like basically like be a gossip girl, basically, like go to one of the like be Jenny Humphreys from
Yeah.
Gossip Girl with I had my little sewing machine, like carrying bag, and I'd be like, with fabric everywhere all the time. And but I just didn't take it as seriously, and I didn't think that I was cut out for like the cutthroat environment because it can be cutthroat. But I've gotten into it lately, and I've been sewing just some random things, and I want to like get back into that. So yeah, that's what I've been doing, and it's very relaxing now. Like it used to be so stressful because I've been like for my grades, I've been like, oh my god, my seams are like off, but now because there's not the pressure's off, I'm just like, oh, I can enjoy this and like relax.
Hey, you never know. You'll be like author and then a fashion designer
Yeah.
at the same time. Like,
Aw, that's so sweet.
You're something else. Like I can't even get half my shit together, and you're reading, you're writing, you're watching TV, you're making clothes or whatever. And I'm like, gosh.
I don't think we can't all do it at the same time. Like I can't do it all at the same time. Like I have like a day where I could do this, or like 1 week where all works out. The other week it's like a crap show and everything's like, my house is a mess. I feel like you succeed at one thing at a time, and then like 10 other things are like a mess in like the background. So I just try to like lean into what's working at the moment. And what I think like first, as long as my child is taken care of, everything else like comes secondary. And then like I figure out what do I need and what does my house need, what does my son need. And so, it's just like intuitively like what I think's, important.
That makes sense. I mean, I'm the same way. It's like I stressed myself out, and I was like, you know what? I have a child that I need to take care of. Everything else can wait later.
How old is the child?
He's 11.
Oh, nice.
I'm pretending he's a baby because I'm just like, like he's 11. He's like so independent nowadays. So
my baby's almost 4, and so but he's still my baby, and I like, I'm like, he's like, I'm not a baby. I'm like, you are a baby.
They're always going to be babies. That's such a good age too, because like they start to like their brains are such sponges, and then they're developing their personalities. I love that age.
Me too. I used to teach in my past life.
Oh,
and so that was the age that I had taught in preschool. Like, and so I'm familiar with that age, and that was like one of my favorite ages. I mean, I like it. I like it all. But that was one of my favorite, I think.
Yeah, like my brother, his fiance just gave birth back in November. So it's like they have a 3-month-old, and he was like, when is she gonna start sleeping through the night? I was like, I don't know. I was like, mine slept through the night, but I also like I got lucky enough to where like I trained him like this is kind of like bedtime and all that stuff to where he could sleep through the night. And I wasn't holding him all the time, but also, I had to go. I actually go to work before, and then he goes to the daycare, so we couldn't really like hold him all the times because that otherwise it's gonna be a nightmare. And I told him, it's like, just don't get her used to like you holding it, because once you get back to work and you guys work from home, you won't be able to put her down. So now they're struggling because they try to put her in a bouncy, and she's just like not having it. She wants to be held the whole time. And I was like, told you. And she's like, well, we didn't want you, just let her cry.
I did that. My baby, he was a barnacle baby. He wanted to be like on me all the time. And I did it. And then but then you get to a point where it's like they're a year and you're like, oh, I haven't sat down in a year. And I haven't had like a free hand in a year. And it's like, okay, we need some, and like he's not sleeping through the night. And it's like, well, we have to have some kind of structure here now.
They're struggling. So like they have like the same work schedule
at
home.
Yeah,
but they can't just like, and they don't even like get to eat together. Like one has to be holding and then the other one eats. They alternate.
But that's good that they're good partners. They sound like you're a good partner.
But right now, with them having the same work schedule, it's not working out for them because they can't
Yeah.
work properly. So he's gonna switch to night so that way they can alternate. And I
Oh,
was like,
good.
I mean, like that's gonna be rough.
But it's nice that they're a team, that like they see what each other needs, and like I think that that's like a really good testament to
Yeah.
the relationship. It's
So
like
important.
like if one needs something, like
Right.
you kind of bend, like when you need that, and I think that that's so important. And like their child only benefits from that.
Going back to writing, um, do you kind of like do you put yourself on like on a specific schedule when you write, or do you kind of just like write when you're inspired or when the scene kind of comes to you?
Yeah.
For Pretend for me, I had no schedule. And I preferred it because I'm not a scheduled person. So when, and like it's easier when your kids are younger because it's like they have nap time. And so like I could have a scene in my head and I would look at the clock and say, oh, he's going to bed in a minute. He's going to take a nap in an hour. I could bang that out, but now it's like, it doesn't work like that. And so it's hard to schedule creativity. I was actually speaking about this on my podcast that I'm starting. I did an episode with somebody and I was like, oh, like, how do you do it all? Because it's so hard to schedule creativity and you have this scene in your head. And by the time you go to write it down, you can't remember half of it. And then your notes app, like I'm jotting it down in my notes app and then it comes out gibberish. And so it's like, how do we do this? So I'm actually trying to navigate those waters right now because I don't like having to schedule it, like, a specific writing time, but I have to now because in order to have somebody either watch my son for like an hour so that I can like finish a scene, or if I have a deadline, which I'm on a self-imposed deadline right now, or I'm just like feverishly writing and then I have to decipher it at night and I'm like, okay, so this is my time at night. I'm going to like try and knock out this scene, but like sometimes you're not in the mood. And so it's very difficult. And so if anyone has the secret, let me know.
No.
I think we've gotten different answers from different authors.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the questions we like to ask because everyone can be so different. But you're right. It's all about what works for you, and you can't force the creativity. It's like it's when you're in it, you're like, oh gosh, I just wanna, and because it's right there.
Mm-hmm.
So I get that.
And sometimes characters are talking so loud, and it's like when they're talking so loud, it's like, okay, my God, I don't have a free minute. I just need a minute. And like, and then that's the minute that everybody needs you the most. It's like, I'll have my mom calling. I'll have my kid screaming in the background. I'll have, I'm like 100 things going on. The food is burning. And so I'm like, I just want to write this one scene.
I think like ideas always come to me when I'm like working my day job and I'm like, I'm on the clock. I cannot like stop. I'm just like, and I need to like utilize a voice note app so I can just talk on my phone.
Oh yeah.
And I keep forgetting to like download one and I'm just like, I need to start doing that because then I can just like, because sometimes I'll like forget about it until like a month later it comes back and be like, oh, that's the one that I was like thinking about, but I didn't jot it down. So I know you said you don't have a schedule, but do you kind of like make a plan of how many books you'll publish in a year?
Tentatively, I have been, because I came out with my first one in November. I was supposed to come out with what now is my second earlier than what it is now. But then, like you said, you get these ideas. So I was in the shower one day and my character, if you've read Pretend for me, Charlotte, she came to me in the shower. I'm in the shower and then I'm feverishly like voice noting, like go back to your voice note thing. I'm feverishly voice noting my friend who's my editor. I'm like, oh my God, Charlotte needs a spin-off series. And I have all these ideas and I'm like feverishly telling her the whole plot. And I'm like dripping wet all over my floor. It like trying to like remember everything. I'm like, I'm just to paint the picture for you. And like, I'm like voice noting it to her. I have shampoo in my hair and I'm like, okay, we need to do this. So how are we going to fit this on the docket?
Right.
Just to give you some context, I am not a scheduled person. I'm horrible at schedules. But I'm trying. And so I want to at least have Fall from Grace is coming out on my birthday, May 7th. Lie to Me, I'm hoping will come out before fall, which is Charlotte's book. And then we'll see what else
Oh,
it
okay.
takes me. Yeah. So hopefully I have a lot of ideas. I already have 2 covers already made for my future books as well. And it's all planned. It's just a matter of getting my butt in the chair and getting the words.
You'll get there.
Are there also going to be like a couple cover?
No. I have my cover reveal tomorrow, actually, for Fall from Grace. So it's funny you mentioned that. Hers is not. It's like half a model cover. I'll show it to you when we are finished. And then for Lie to Me, which is going to be Charlotte's book, it's probably going to be a male cover and then a floral cover. So it's going to be just a male cover if I find the right model. I have a couple of model pictures,
okay.
and I'm back and forth with photographers. But Elijah is a specific guy in my head, and I'm just trying to get that perfect vision of him. But I have a floral cover made already.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
And then I have my 4th book already. I have my 4th cover already done too. I find that having the covers help me write faster.
That's Marjorie's got hers too.
I got 3 of them. Oh.
That's great.
And I reap the benefits because she's like, let's look at these models. I'm like, oh, if we have to look at half naked men, all right.
We weren't super half naked. I mean, we were looking at them, but like the ones that we picked weren't half naked because the first one wasn't super half naked. So we're like, well, we're gonna go on a theme here.
Yeah. That's true.
But that's just me because it's like, well, if I'm gonna display them, they have to kind of like aesthetically have to be similar. So
see, I had no plan for a spinoff of Pretend for Me. I never had a plan, but Charlotte had her own plans, and she, is her own person. And it's so on brand with her character because she's like a wild card in the book, and she's a wild card, like how her writing process came to me as well. But it's funny because even with my cover, with the model cover that you mentioned for Pretend for Me, they were supposed to be younger when I wrote it. When I first wrote it, they were younger, but then I aged them up. But I already had the cover, and my cover was it was so clear in my mind when I saw that. I was like, that's Cassie and Matthew. So I just kept it, even though they look a little young, younger than like the book. I was like, that's them. That's the vision I have of them in my head. If they're like a little bit older.
Well, I mean, they were younger in the beginning, so it's just
there's nuance there, thankfully.
So pretend I'm new to you. I haven't read any of your books. What is 3 words that you could use to describe your books? Well, book.
Oh, that's a great question. Redemption. Romantic with an edge.
Okay. I think, that's accurate for the book, the one that I read for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah. But I will say, the scene that I got so nervous was when, I'm not going to give too much away, but when they meet up again at the restaurant, I was like, oh shit. That was good though. I liked it.
Thank you. Yes. And Bridget, she's another character who takes on such a life of her own. And she just jumps off the page for me. And she was so easy to write because I feel like we've all had a bad boss where they just are polarizing. And so I kind of channeled that into her. But she has her redeemable qualities. And then, and then once you read Lie to Me, you might think she's not so redeemable again because I'm writing her a bit. She has some problems there too.
Ugh. Right.
But that's the thing though, if you're writing really as an author, when they write really well, it's the way you hate a character that they make you hate. It's it's written well because it pulls that emotion out of you.
And even when you're writing it, when I'm writing it and I hate them, I'm like, I don't like her, but I love writing her.
I think the actual villain of the story sometimes are easier to write because you're just like, oh, okay, let's, like because there's always going to be a villain in your story. It's just like, oh, who's the hate is a strong word, but it's like, who's the person that I hate that I'm just like gonna put it in there and torture them? I don't know.
Yeah.
Pretend for me is an emotionally beautiful love story about Cassie and Matthew. How did you come up with the story?
Well, we know how you first came up with it, but how did it develop? Yeah.
Literally, I remember I was lying. My son was napping on my chest, like because we were doing contact naps for a while because it was the only way he would fall asleep for his naps. And so he had just fallen asleep, and my phone was like on 1% or something like that. And I'm like, I got this idea. Like I'm like daydreaming. I was probably like in a postpartum haze, and I think I was like half delusional from the sleep exhaustion. And the whole opening scene came to me. They had a fight, and like I said, I kind of backtracked. I was like, okay, well, they had to have known each other their whole lives. And so that means they were friends from childhood. So they knew each other from age 4. And then I'm like, well, this is a really emotional, like, fight. So there has to be something to like lose. So like one of them gets adopted. The other one doesn't. There has to be like a wealthy family involved. And then it kind of just took a life on from there. I actually had written it. I wrote the prologue first, which is what you first read, but then I wrote so many flashbacks. So like I have pages upon pages that didn't end up in the book of flashbacks of like from age 4 to when they break up at 18. I sprinkled some of the flashbacks in, but I love when you know so much about your characters, even if it doesn't make it on the page, because if you like ask me like what they're doing right now or what what happened on a specific date, like before, like when they were like 14, I could tell you that, even though it might have not made it on the page. So, it's really like a magical experience. And I just kept writing. And then it's like a puzzle. So I took out a lot of those flashbacks and I just sprinkled them in where I felt was like necessary. And then they reunite 10 years later, and how do they find their way? And then like my little like tagline says, how do they find their way back without pretending? And, there's going to be, it's high stakes. And then once they do get together, there's still, somebody had described it as like almost like a suspense element, to when they do, get back together. When there's like a very traumatic thing that happens and they could be torn apart again by, outside causes.
Let me ask you this. Do your friends and family members know that you are writing? Yes, they're love stories, but there's going to be spice. Do they know that you write these books, and have they read any?
It's funny you ask this because yes, all of my friends and family know. My mom was literally like blast texting everybody she knew to buy the book, like literally like harassing them. Like, my daughter wrote a book, you better buy it. She has no shame. She has no shame at all. And then my dad, neither one of my parents are readers. I'm an avid reader. I taught myself how to read at a very, very young age. My mom said she just found me like I memorized a book she read to me, and I was just like reading in a corner, like when it was like very, very young. So I've always loved to read. Neither of my parents are readers. My mom read the book cover to cover. She loved it.
Oh, nice.
And my dad, I told him, don't read it. My dad, I said, no matter what you do, don't read it. And it's not even like a extremely spicy book. Like some of my other books that are coming out are very spicy, which I'll have to like hide. But so he had critiques. He had critiques from the first page. He read one page and he's like, you put a curse word on the first page. I don't know if that might be a little polarizing. He was giving me notes and I'm like, okay, you can't read any more of this. Mom, hide the book.
That's so funny. I love that.
Oh, but that's, they're supportive, like the fact that they're pretty much forcing people like, you better buy it. That's awesome. Whether those people read it or not, but at least they bought it. It's like, it's support. I love that.
And she made sure, like, did you buy it?
It's the book on the coffee table.
her friends are like sending her screenshots of the book because she like harassed them so much, and she like that as proof
I
that they
love it.
actually buy it, not just like, yeah, sure, I'm gonna buy it. But that's like a supportive mom that way. Because like
Yeah.
I know there are like authors that we've talked to where just like, no, nobody knows that I'm like right, because they do use pen names and stuff like that. Like they don't know or anything like that. So that's awesome.
Even my son's father, we're not like he read the book, and he's not a reader either. He's not a reader either. And my son's father, and he read the book and he liked it. And of course there's like a little bit of snark like in there. He's like, well, you are a good storyteller, which could be like, a good thing and a bad thing in his eyes. But I was like,
Oh, geez.
but he's supportive. And so I appreciated that because he's my toughest critic.
They could just like, like buy it without reading it and stuff. I mean, that's still support. Like I know some authors, they have like family or friends that will buy it but not read it, but at least they bought it. So that's amazing that you get, people that will actually that read it, and granted they have like, notes for you and stuff, but that's okay.
Yeah, built-in ARC readers.
Right.
For real. I should just have them as my ARC team before I have like I
Right?
didn't think my mom read it before it came out. My dad, like I said, I didn't think he would even want to read it. So like I didn't even like offer it to him before I like released it. And then he has the most notes out of anybody. He's like, well, I'm not sure about this. And I'm like, Dad.
He wrote a book report. Are there any like subgenres or tropes that you plan to write in the future that like, besides the ones that you've already have plans now, kind of like looking far ahead, like do you have anything that you plan?
Yes, I love I've always wanted, like, I'm all over the place with where I wanted to take my career. I always loved writing, but like in another life, I wanted to be a lawyer. Like that was always a thing. And I've had an idea for a lawyer romance. It was like one of the first stories that came to me when I was like 13 years old. And I have it in my notes app. And I think about it all the time. And I would love to write a lawyer romance, like a lawyer and her client romance.
That would be interesting.
Oh, that'll be fun.
And I love like a pretty woman trope though too. I would love to like write like a, like a sex worker. I have something in the works of that in that vein of like, so that's like a little teaser of something to come.
Okay. That sounds good. Yeah.
Weirdly enough, I know what Pretty Woman is, but I've never actually like finished the movie. Like I've seen clips and stuff, and I was like, well, I know what it is, but I just never like
This weekend.
That's your homework. You have to watch it.
a bunch of books this weekend before next week. Okay, like, just
Shame on you, Marjorie.
now I have to find it. I mean, I'll eventually, watch it. Like I've seen clips of it and I know what it is about. I just never like actually finished a whole movie.
Yeah.
It's so good.
For those who will be listening, I know you told us which books will be coming out. So you've got one in May. That's projected. That's Fall from Grace. And then the next one is
Lie to Me.
Lie to Me. Okay. And when do you think, like 6 months, a year after that, or?
I'm hoping fall, but I'm hoping before fall, but that might be a little ambitious even for me. So we'll see. Wherever Charlotte takes me.
Yeah.
We're working on her.
Okay.
But Fall from Grace is a small town romance. It's about a socialite who has a fall from grace. She is on top of the world. And when you're on top of the world, the only way to go is down. And so she has a horrific thing happen, and it kind of ruins her whole reputation. And she escapes to the fictional small town of Grand Haven and meets the sexy single dad bar owner who rocks her world.
Okay.
I love a single dad romance too. Like
me too.
Those single dads sometimes just they hit different too.
Yes, swoon-worthy.
Yeah.
Why will they're going to be overprotective because they already have a kid that
Right.
so it's gonna cross over to whatever female main character they end up with.
Yeah, and Grace needs that protectiveness.
Do you have like any special editions, or do you plan to do any special edition for your for Pretend for Me and then like your future books?
I'd love to. I haven't dabbled in that yet. I do have the model cover of Pretend for Me, and I also have a discrete cover, which is the flowers. It's a different cover. Not many people know about it, so I've been directing more people to that. So I'd love to dabble in that, though.
So last question, are you planning to attend any signing events this year?
I applied for a few, and I can't wait to hear back. I'd love to meet some of my readers. So fingers crossed that all works out.
Oh, that'll be exciting. And then you can make your announcement. So that'll be fun.
Yes.
We'll keep a lookout for that. Well, that brings us to the end of the episode. Thank you so much for taking the time to meet with us. This was so much fun. You're a blast. And I wish you so much success on your book and the new books to come out.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yep, we're going to be on the lookout for the next.
I appreciate the support, and I'm so excited. Thank you so much for having me. It's been an honor, and I've had a blast talking with you guys.
Well, that brings us to the end of the episode. Thank you so much for joining us. And thanks for taking the time for meeting us today. It was a pleasure to have you as a guest. Be sure to follow us on our socials and make sure to subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss out on any new episodes. If you have any authors you'd like to recommend, you can send us a message on Instagram at Unfiltered Romance Nights. Well, that's all. See you next time.
Bye.